Hey,
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Roseburg Speakers and Storytelling. Storytellers. Are you where have you been? And as the housekeeping rule, please mute our microphone when we are not talking, and let's just get started. We have one speaker and try waiting for another speaker if we are lucky. But we have our table topic master here. So with that, I would like to hand over the control to our presiding officer, Tiger McKinney.
okay, thank you. Yeah, welcome everybody to RSS. Looks like we're going to have a small, comfortable group today. We'll have fun, and I'm sure we'll learn something. We have a phenomenal Toastmaster of the day, and we also have phenomenal table topics master. So this will be a good meeting. I can assure everyone of that. Let's get on with the show and turn this over to our esteemed Toastmaster of the Day and our division director, Sarah.
Thank you, Tiger. Fellow Toastmasters, how's the weather today? What are your hobbies? What do you like to do? Have you ever thought how to start a conversation? You go in a social environment, you get invited to a party where you don't know anybody, and you don't know how to go to some people and start some meaningful interchange of ideas. Well, I was thinking about this for the last days, and actually, my inspiration came from Kevin because he mentioned the last meeting he was not a really good conversationalist. Conversationalist? Well, and I was thinking that I'm actually struggling also with that. And being in the international convention where all those masters get together is kind of easy, get to know some people, but still I'm like a little bit nervous to go to people, start a conversation, so that I decided that the topic for this meeting will be small talk. And I want to give you some examples of small talk and also some suggestions to improve. And as usual, our meetings are composed of three parts. In the first one, we will have the prepared speeches. Then we will have the table topics. And finally, we will receive feedback with the general evaluator, Michelle, and all the technical team that will take notes during the meeting to give us some improvement ideas, or they will also tell us what we did good. And yeah, before starting the meeting, I want to introduce to that team that will evaluate the meeting at the end. First of all, I will call upon our grammarian today, who is Lorraine. Lorraine, please introduce your role. Yeah, tell us what you are doing today.
Thank you, Sarah. I will be the grammarian and counter today. It's important to use different words and to express your ideas concisely. Expressing your ideas well builds credibility. So I will be listening for good grammar and not so good grammar. I'll also be recording the filler words like so, and, and double clutches. The word of the day is myriad, a great number. So a myriad of things. An example is the middle school class generated a myriad of ideas for ways they could volunteer in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine. And we also have our timer, who is today Ayu. Ayu, please tell us about your role.
Thank you, Sarah. And my fellow Toastmaster, today I will be serving as your timer, and I'm going to use this virtual background as our tools. This is my green, this is my yellow, and this is the red. The green virtual background means we are still in our allotted time, and please keep talking or keep delivering your speech until the green light on, especially for table topic. And then when we see the yellow, it means we are almost at the end of our allotted time. And when we see red, hopefully we will be able to wrap up and finish our speech, whatever we are talking about. With that, I just want to say that we have only one speaker for today's meeting, and I believe it is 5 to 7 minutes. I would like to confirm that with our speaker, Tiger. Right, 5 to 7 minutes, sir. Table topic 1 to 2 minutes, and evaluation will be 2 to 3 minutes. We have no guests. All of us are Toastmasters, so we are ready to go. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day, Sarah.
Thank you, Ayu. Well, let me give you some rules and characteristics of small talk. Normally, it is a conversation about unimportant or uncontroversial topics. And it is used to break the silence, to fill time, or just to be polite. But it also helps to build the foundation for a more deep conversation. And I want to ask you something. Are there some small talk topics in your country or some usual topics that you use for small talk? I would like you to share in the chat box so that at the end of the meeting we have a myriad of ideas for small talk.
Can you repeat the question, Sarah?
If you have some small talk topics that you use in your daily life or in your country, some common topics, or in your culture. Yeah, exactly. Traffic is one, sports, weather is very usual, at least in Germany. Family, it's an interesting topic because in some cultures it's considered to be too personal if you ask about family, but it's a good topic, for example, in India or in Latin America. Very nice. With this, I want to go to the first part of the meeting. And in this part, we will hear a prepared speech from Tiger. It is part of his Pathways Effective Coaching. And it is in the level 1. The purpose is writing a speech with a purpose. And the title is Put Your Heart into It. Put your heart into it, Tiger.
If you're going to do something, put your heart into it. These were the words of my dad that I heard over and over growing up. My first remembrance was when I was 6 years old, playing a baseball game. I struck out to end the game. I was sitting in the car, crying unconsolably. My father got in the car and said, "Tiger, Son, why are you crying? Because I lost the game. I struck out. Did you try your best? Did you put your heart into the game? Oh, yeah. There's no need to cry. That's all you need to do. Let's go get ice cream. After every game, win or lose, my dad took us to ice cream because he wanted all of us to know it didn't matter if you won or lost. It's whether or not you gave it your best. You put your heart into it. I was the second oldest of 4 siblings. My brother was the oldest, and he was about a year and a half older than I. My mom was a house mom, and she did her best to take care of the kids. My brother and I fought a lot. And one day, we're in our bedroom getting into a tussle again, and my mom came in with a kitchen chair with metal legs. And she took that kitchen chair and she slammed it into the wall. It penetrated the sheetrock and the chair just hung there. When my dad got home, he came in the room and he looked. Boys, when your mom is into something, she puts her heart into it. There was no ice cream for a month. The first winter I came home after college, my first term at college, my father met me at the door. Pointed at my transcripts. He asked me to go into his office. Never a good sign. Can you explain this? I explained to him that I had broken up with my girlfriend of several years. I was heartbroken, and I just couldn't get into my studies. I just couldn't put my heart into my studies. He was empathetic. Explained to me, in relationships, when you put your heart into a relationship, there's always that possibility you're going to get your heart broken. However, that does not explain this. His basic message was to this: either go back to school, give it your best shot, or go get a job at McDonald's. Now, I'm proud to say I never got a job at McDonald's. I did work in an ice cream parlor one summer, but I never got a job at McDonald's. When I was 19, my father tragically died. My world was shattered. The funeral was amazing. The local church was packed to the rafters, standing room only. I had no idea how much impact my father had on so many people. People after people, persons after persons got up and talked about my father and his influence on them. And yes, the message, you're going to do something in life, put your heart into it, give it your best. My friends, I ask you, next time you're doing something, think to yourself, am I putting my heart into this? Am I giving my best, whether it be your job, whether it be relationships, whether it just be eating ice cream? Put your heart into it. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tiger. Such a great message. Let me go back to the small talk to give you some suggestions to improve in that area. One is to arrive earlier to any social event you have or to the Toastmasters meeting so that you can have a small conversation with the members before everything starts. A second suggestion is to be a good listener so that you can do some comment on the conversation, or you can show interest in the other person. Now let me go to the second part of the meeting, which is the table topics. And we all can participate because we have today an intimate meeting. Let me pass the word to our Toastmaster table topic master of the day, Titin.
Thank you, Sarah. So, fellow Toastmasters, good morning, afternoon, evening. Let us explore the myriad of ideas and experiences in the table topic sessions today. Let me start with my first statement. For this statement, is there any volunteer? Perhaps Michelle would like to try. Let me share in my virtual background. Small talk survivor.
Okay, did you want me to start, Titin?
Yes, please, Michelle.
Okay, I love that. It's the first time I've seen that icon or sign, Small Talk Survivor. I think I will make one for myself because I would consider myself a small talk survivor, or at least I am somebody who cannot stand being in a room or a situation or a group, like in Zoom, for example, and everybody is just quiet. I think those who know me, Tiger, you would probably agree to that. So I am what you might consider a small talk survivor. I will start the conversation. And like I posted earlier in the chat, it can be topics as innocuous as the weather. They always say the UK, the British, will always have the weather because their weather is usually so bad. But I think everyone, no matter what part of the world, can relate to weather or traffic, or sometimes, you can, instead of just saying weather in a general way, you can start it off with a positive. You can say, "What a beautiful day," or just sometimes, "How's your day?" or "How's your evening?" or "How are you doing?" "How are you doing" can be one of the most neutral small talk starters. How are you doing? And true enough, as Sarah mentioned, it can be awkward when you're in a big group, like a convention, and you get started, or at least you want to get started. And sometimes maybe people have arrived earlier, like Sarah mentioned. Maybe they came as a group and they are all standing around talking with each other. And there is actually, in another topic or another time, we can talk about how you encourage people to join. But some people don't know that. So they just continue talking among themselves. And as a small talk survivor, I will edge myself in and say, "So, how's everyone?" And unless they're extremely rude, somebody will have to stop and look at me. But right now I need to stop because it's my time. So back to you, Titin.
Thank you, Michelle. So how are you doing today? I hope you have a great day today, Michelle. Now let us proceed to our second question or statement. Let me share the second one. Let me choose the statement. Second one, a funny or unusual small talk encounter you have had recently. funny or unusual small talk encounter you have had recently? Lauren, would you like to try?
Yeah. A funny or unusual small talk encounter. I'm part of another volunteer organization, and one of my jobs is to write a newsletter for the other volunteers. I was interviewing one of the members for this month's newsletter. I went through the usual questions like, how long have you been a member? How did you get interested in our organization? The usual questions. Then when the interview was over, we talked a little about his family and how his sister moved to Arizona. And then as we were both getting up from the table, I asked if he had any plans later today, which is another small talk conversation or question to ask if what the person's plans are. And he said he was going to play pickleball. And I didn't realize he was a pickleball player. That led to an additional 10 minutes of us re-sitting ourselves onto the table and talking about how awesome pickleball is. That was a funny encounter because I didn't know he would be a player too and love it as much as me.
Oh, thank you, Lauren. I should try pickleball one day. It can be a conversation starter. Thank you. Now, for the next one, Sarah, would you like to try?
I will try.
Small talk tip for networking events.
What a great topic, because I think this situation is the best to get to use your small talk skills. And one suggestion is, depending on the event, maybe you can know some people that invited you. You are there and you know some new people. You can ask how they were invited, if they know that people that send the invitation. And with this, you can start one conversation. Another suggestion is, as Michelle already said, just ask some open questions. How is your doing? How is your day? Or also you can start talking about the location. How do you like here? Do you think it's a beautiful building? Uh, what about furniture or decoration, etc.? Some other ideas are to talk about pets, hobbies, or music. Yeah, but in summary, it depends on the event. Maybe you can talk about the people that invited you, some common interests, and start with open questions. Back to you, Titin.
Thank you, Sarah. Start with an open question. I will try this tip next time in my networking event. Next one, I would like to ask Bu Ayu, would you like to try?
Sure, Titin.
I can be your timer.
I can find myself.
Oh, is it okay? You can time yourself.
Yeah.
So much more was said than in the unsaid.
I agree with this sentence. So much more was said in the unsaid. Because when somebody said, I'm happy, how do you feel? I'm happy. I'm okay. Really? Yeah. Why? No smiling. Well, body language or facial expression. Sometimes we don't know what we are doing until somebody tell us that happened to us. I am not somebody who's very sensitive, not just about myself, but also to others. But facial expression and body language very much easy to be noticed that somebody is actually having a good time or not. Maybe next time if we have we are in a situation, I would encourage everyone to just start a small talk with somebody who is quiet at the corner of the room alone and just say hi to them. How about that? Thank you for that question, Tiffany.
Thank you, Bu Ayu. Try to start a conversation with someone at the corner. I will remember that. Now, next one. Tiger, would you like to try?
Yeah, sure.
Small talks, great connections.
Getting back to my father. My father was the master of conversation. Wherever we would go to a grocery store, we go to a friend's house, it didn't matter. He was always good at opening people up. And you know what I found the best way to open people up? He asked them, Sarah, how are you doing today? Lauren, how was your morning? Keaton, how are things going at your school? Talk about things that other people can relate to. I remember going to a bar with him. I was 19 years old. Don't tell anybody that. And I remember we sat down at the bar and there was a guy sitting there. And 2 seconds, my dad's getting this guy a conversation about different types of bourbons. And pretty soon they're getting bourbons and talking about the different tastes of bourbons. I didn't even know what bourbon was, but I got good and drunk, I can tell you that. And I learned a whole bunch about bourbon. But it didn't take him 5 seconds to make a connection with that person. So if you're in a situation, you come into a room, sit down, just ask somebody how they are and then respond. Give them opportunity to talk about themselves and then find a topic that you can both relate to. Toastmasters is easy. You go to a Toastmaster meeting, you can talk about, I mean, it's boring maybe, but what path you're working on, or, what's your favorite part about Toastmasters, or why is it that you like teaching? Everyone can talk about that. So small talk is important. It is the way to build connections, even with people that you know that you talk to all the time. It's always nice to just say, hey, how are you doing? How's the weather? Be friendly, be open, and get people to talk about themselves. People like to talk about themselves. Back to you, Ethan.
Thank you, Tiger. People like to talk about themselves. I will remember that, and I agree with you. So now we know how you get the talent of being a great conversationalist, Tiger. We are done already with our one round of table topics session. I have prepared 10 or 11 questions. Do you want to have another round of table topics?
How about giving you one first? I have one.
Sure, Bayu.
How do you feel stepping up as table topic master with the theme of small talk today?
Stepping up as a table topic master with the theme of small talks. At first, this was the theme that is closely related to me. I don't really like small talks, especially with people whom I don't really know, with the strangers. So I prefer to be quiet. But then I remember that this small talk, I need to do this. I need to encounter this, especially when I enter a new community. I need to make friends with them. So I try to get out of my comfort zone. And yeah, so that's how I try to create the sentences or the questions related to these small talks. Well, it turns out to be a very fun topic that Sarah has bring up, small talks. And I believe after this, I will not have small talks as much as I used to be. So thank you, Sarah, for this wonderful theme for the meeting today. Now, shall we go on the next round of table topics? We start with Michelle again. Michelle, I have prepared a question for you. I would like to hear from you how active listening enhances the quality of small talk. How active listening enhances the quality of small talk.
Thank you, Titin, for such an impactful question. I would say on a scale from 1 to 10, active listening is perhaps an 11. That's an exaggeration. But seriously, you can almost tell how good somebody will be with small talk by how powerful that person's active listening is. And active listening is not just listening to the words, as who was it? I think IU responded in her small talk or in her table topics question. It's also listening to what's not said, watching the person's body language, watching the person's facial expression, the gestures. So if you are good with active listening, then you're able to pick up on cues. For example, as illustrated by you ask, how are you doing? And the person says, fine, but there's no inflection in the person's voice and the person is not smiling. Then as an active listener, you can pursue and say, really, are you fine? It sounds like you're not having such a good day. And then depending on how close the person is or how open the person is to you, that person might open up and say, well, actually, something happened, etc., etc. And then again, you apply your active listening. So even in certain professions, active listening is a requirement. For example, if you're a counselor or if you're a therapist, you better not try to be a therapist if you do not have active listening skills, because it's not just small talk like in networking events or casual events, but also getting started into the more important kind of talk. You need to start with small talk. You can't go directly and say, okay, what happened in your relationship? Yikes. You can't do that. You have to start with small talk. So again, active listening is perhaps the single most important skill that's needed to enhance small talk and better conversations. Back to you, Titi.
Thank you, Michelle, for reminding us the importance of active listening with your examples. Now let me have another one. Lauren, would you like to try? Your go-to topic when you want to keep a conversation light and casual.
Thank you for the prompt. My go-to topic is the weather or asking about the person's plans for the coming week. Sometimes the weather conversation is pretty short because Oregon rains most of the time. So if you ask how the weather is, you would just say it's raining. But you can expand on that with what did you do during the rain time, like play board games or look at social media on your phone, and the plans, your plans for the week can be just a summary and you don't have to go into too much detail to keep it light and the conversation flowing. Those two topics are usually what I go to for a light conversation.
Thank you, Lauren, for sharing with us. Okay, next one. Sarah, would you like to try?
Sure.
Small talk first, big business follows.
Well, at my job, I do negotiations. And I'm sure that even if you want to stay at a professional level and talk about business, you still have this personal layer where you want to know your partner, you want to know what he or she does, what are their hobbies. You want to know a little bit about that person. So that I can tell you that small talks are very important also in business meetings. We can start with the weather, then we change to sports, which are also unimportant or uncontroversial topics. And then we start building this relationship that will go to close this business. And to get the reliability, to get a good relationship, it's very important to get some trust and to feel that you know the other person or that are you doing business with. Because at the end, yes, we are talking about business, but we are people and we like this connection. So that's why small talk is so important also in business topics or in business meetings. Back to you, Titin.
Thank you, Sarah. Business is about trust. Yes, I agree with you. Thanks. And now, Bu Ayu, would you like to try?
Yes, Titin. Oh,
How about this one, Bu Ayu? You will time yourself again.
yeah, I will.
Thank you. Your favorite icebreaker question to kickstart a conversation.
How are you? Hi, I'm just stopping by. Thank you for the smile, for your smile. That's probably I usually say, I like your smile. Or that red is good in you. That's probably what I will do. Because I'm not really, I don't know how to answer or continue the conversation if they want to talk about sport. I don't really understand sport. I don't really know a lot of music. So that's usually my favorite icebreaker sentence. Just questions. How do you feel today? How was your day? How is that? What do you think about the event, for example? Sometimes it's probably classic, but I always bring the 5W plus 1H. So how I will start with that in my brain. So I will continue later, but most of the time I never know what will come out from my mouth, just like that. So, but one thing that I know, as long as I start with smile, then it will flow. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bayu. I can feel you. Sometimes we start with a small talk and then they talk about sports, music, and then I cannot follow anymore. Thank you for sharing. Now we have one more. Tiger, would you like to try? I think he's not here.
Yeah, then we
Tiger, would you like to respond to this statement? Friendship begins with small talks.
Every friendship you have started with small talk. You don't just meet somebody and say, "Hi, Michelle, would you like to be my friend?" I mean, when you're 5 years old, maybe, especially if Michelle has candy. But typically, how do we start friendships? You meet somebody at a party, you meet somebody at a Toastmaster meeting, you meet somebody at work, and you start to talk about things. You know, where are you from? What do you like to do? How many siblings do you have? Whatever they're interested in. What hobbies do you like? Oh, you like football? Cool. You get to have small talks. And after 5-10 minute conversation, you go off and do something. You're thinking to yourself, I really like that person. I would like to talk to that person again. We do the same thing on social media, WhatsApp. You have a conversation with somebody texting and you think, wow, this person's really interesting. So you continue to talk. The more you talk, the more you start to get to know somebody, start to care about somebody. You ask, how's your day? How's your life? How are your kids? Michelle, how the heck you doing over there? Teton, how's school? Lauren, I want it to rain. I wish it was raining. My God, I wish it was raining. I hate rain in January, but right now I would give anything for some rain. So all friendships start with small talk. And small talk keeps friendships going. Sometimes you don't talk to somebody for a week. Sometimes you don't talk to them for a month. Well, when you get a hold of them, what's the first thing you do? Hey, how's the weather? How's your dad doing? Small talk is really important. And it will keep a friendship going. Like you say, even if you have a friend or family member that you don't talk to for a while and you just call them up or send them a text message just so they know that you're thinking about it. Table topics master.
Thank you for sharing, Tiger. Yes, consistency in generating these small talks with people, I believe it is important. Well, thank you so much, fellow Toastmasters, for your myriad of ideas about these small talks. And I believe I myself will love small talks better when I leave this meeting compared to when we started this meeting. So what a wonderful theme that our Toastmaster of the day, Sarah, has bring for today. Back to you, Sarah.
Not
Thank-
fair. Not fair, Sarah. Didn't get to answer one only.
Okay, go ahead.
I will say that Tiger unmute himself. He wants to ask something.
I get to ask Teton a question? Yeah?
Yes.
Teton, what is your favorite small talk starter? When you just first meet somebody, how do you start your small talk conversations? What's your go-to?
Well, the first sentence that I can think of as a small talk starter, especially me as an Asian, as a Chinese, what I can think is, have you taken your meal? We usually like to exchange this question among ourselves to show that we care to our family members, to our friends, to see if they have taken their meal, if they are full already, if they are in a good condition at that moment. Have you taken your meal? We really mean it. We really would like to know if they are full and happy, of course. Well, this question, by all means, I cannot ask this to anyone. I just met, hey, have you taken your meal? That will be awkward and funny. Then usually I will just see if there is any similarities between us. Then I will talk about that similarities. For example, if we belong to the same group, then or we come from same city, then we go to a gathering together, then we will talk about the condition of that city at that time. Or perhaps he or she happens to come from my hometown in West Borneo, then we will have a lot to talk, even though I did not go back to my hometown since 2013. It's been 10 years already. I think it's time for me to visit my uncles, aunties, my cousins in my hometown and ask them, uncles, aunties, and cousins, have you taken your meal? Back to you, Tiger.
And back to you, Teton. Hey, by the way, Teton, what do you have for dinner?
Today I have chicken for dinner. Thank you for asking. How about you?
I had a poppy seed muffin for breakfast. How's that? With coffee, of course.
That's great. Thank you, Tiger. Over to you, Sarah.
Thank you to Dean for that great session of table topics. Great questions, also great responses, participation. We spoke a lot about this topic. So about the suggestions, I prepared some, but we already mentioned all of them. Like, for example, body language to show interest to the person that is speaking, asking open questions and listen. Let the other person speak. Also have a good memory. The next time you meet that person, tell him about something you hear about the topics that are interesting for that person. Where else? Yeah, they are good suggestions for you to start the next networking event. And now I want to give the word to our general evaluator, Michelle, for the feedback part of this meeting.
Thank you so much, Sarah. What an incredible Toastmaster of the day. I you know, when I looked at the program last night, and it's usually hard for me to be awake at this hour because of my medication schedule. But I saw it was Sarah who was tabletop or who was Toastmaster of the meeting. And I said, oh, it's always interesting. And I love how she handles, and I was not disappointed. Great job, Sarah. You were very coherent and well organized and highly informative. There's so much more. I have a myriad of other things I can comment about you, but let me go first to our usual first role player in the feedback or evaluation section. So let us ask our timer to shift roles and now put on her evaluator's hat. And I will be happy to do the timing, although I know Ayu is probably going to be doing it herself. So over to you, Ayu.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator Michelle Albalim. A myriad of happiness shows on people's smile when Tiger starts his sentences. The title, put your heart into it. And he starts with that sentence too. I count this phrase mentioned 6 times at least. So the title, the opening, the 2 times in the middle, and then up about at the end of the speech, and at the last one, so 7 times. Oh, this is a good number. Many people has a 7 as their favorite number. Now I know why he put it 7 times there. So the message, this is what I like about the speech. We know what is the message since the beginning. From the title until the end, it mentioned over and over again. The second thing that I like about Tiger's speech is the story. Everybody said this many times, that he is a good storyteller, a fantastic one. With the vocal variety, we can hear the pitch, the volume, the pause, in the gesture, with the hand, even though he was not standing up delivering his speech, but we can see his facial. I love the crying part. And then the hand gesture. We know that this speech is all about his dad, tribute to his dad. So it's a good one. Everything is perfect. And you know, it's always hard to evaluate or give suggestion to Tiger because it's such a good in structure, in very organized. But I do hear one thing, a brand. There is a brand mentioned. I will suggest to take it out. Does anyone remember what was the suggestion? What was the brand? McDonald's. Yeah, they didn't say McDonald's. They didn't mention it in the chat. And one other suggestion that I would like to give is your time is 5 minutes, 6 seconds. You probably want to throw one more paragraph over there easily. Because 5:06 is quite dangerous. If you say deliver it too fast, it will be under 5 minutes. See, I don't have too much input, but overall, like I said, you bring a myriad of happiness, and it shows on everybody smiling face. Over to you, Michelle. I forgot to start my time, Michelle.
There you are. Let me see. Your time was, oh, I started late. So, oh no, actually, yeah, 3 minutes and 50 seconds. So I guess I started correctly. There you are. But that was up to now when you were making your comments. So no
Okay.
worries. Now, looking at the time, I think I have an opportunity for a just brief comments on IU's evaluation. I loved how she structured it. Like the first thing I liked, and she even had her finger up. The first thing I liked, and then she illustrated it with the number of times that Tiger had the title right there, beginning, middle, and then the second thing I like. So it's very helpful, especially when you are giving the feedback only once, not just for the speaker, but also others in the audience to learn from the feedback. Great job there, Ayu. I also like the way that you commented about time, that he could have used his time a little better. He could have added maybe another point, just a minor clarification. It's not 5 minutes where somebody gets disqualified for a prepared speech. It's 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So he would have had to be way shorter for him to be disqualified. Having said that, I think the McDonald's comment, it's very American, and because Lauren is here, so maybe she can also comment on the chat. But Americans consider McDonald's as like an entry-level job. So if you don't have anything else, you can always work at McDonald's. So it's like an expression. I don't think there's another counterpart in other countries, but for the US, I learned that McDonald's is like, go get a job at McDonald's, or sometimes it's go get a job at a car wash, but usually car wash, not so much anymore. So it's like a cultural thing. There you are. So now let us move on to another excellent evaluator, this time in her role as grammarian. So let us hear from Lauren on how we use the English language and the word of the day. Over to you, Lauren.
Thank you, Michelle. I'll get right into it. IU, once, so, 1, 4 double clutches, 2 word of the day uses. Sarah, 2 1 so, 2 double clutches, 1 word of the day usage. Teton, 1 1 so, 2 word of the days. Michelle, 1 so, 1 and, 2 double clutches, 1 word of the day. And good grammar phrases. My father was the master of conversation. Small talk is the way to build connections. Listening to what's unsaid. One phrase, one sentence that can be structured better is, have you taken your meal yet? A better way is, have you eaten yet? Or have you had your meal? No, have you eaten yet? Yeah. That ends my grammarian and awe counter report. Thanks.
Thank you. Wow. You're in the same time zone as me, and I cannot believe you're able to count us at this hour of the morning. Very impressed. I couldn't do that. I would beg under the influence of oxycodone, but even without that, I still couldn't do what you did. You counted the ums and so's, and wow, very impressive job, Lauren. And I loved how you highlighted some great use of the English language. We have had our grammarian report, and you combined it with the accounters report. So really, let me see, we only need the timers report, and then I have time to give some general comments. So let us have our timers report, although she has already been busy writing down her comments on the chat. Nonetheless, let's hear our timers report one more time. Over to you, Ayu.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Everybody doing pretty good today. Tiger with 506 on his prepared speech. Ayu seems like 3 minutes something on evaluation. And on table topic, Michelle, first table topic, 2 minutes 25. Second one, 2 minutes 31. Lauren, 1 minute 56 and 1 minute 37. Sarah, 1 minute 32 and 1 minute 34. Ayu, 1 minute 38 and 1 minute 39. Tiger, 2 minute 12 and 2 minute 11. Titin, 1 minute 20 and 2 minute 03. So well done for Michelle and Tiger that speak more than 2 minutes. And Titin was catching up on her second table topic speech. 2 minutes with 2 minute 03. Over to you, Madam G.
Thank you so much, Ayu. What a lovely meeting. And we have time for a few comments from the general evaluator. So, Madam Timer, if you could give me 3 to 5 minutes. Hopefully I won't use it all up, but I just thought since we have a small group and it's all friends, we don't have guests. So I would like to give some general comments that we sometimes do away with because we're in a rush. We're running short when we have 2 or 3 speeches. So the first thing I'd like to comment on is how wonderful it is that no matter how small a group is, it always adds value. We always, but at least I hope I'm speaking for everyone, Monday morning becomes more special after an RSS meeting. And I know it's not morning for others, it's evening, but I hope we all get that feeling that there's value. We gained something. Sarah, I already mentioned, so coherent and well organized and so highly informative. Those table topics, not table topics, those small talk tips could be put together as a little primer and shared because they were really useful. And I hope you do that, Sarah. Put it together in a 1 page and share it with all RSS, especially those who didn't make it today, so that they would also gain from it. I loved it. I loved your role as Toastmaster of the meeting. I know I already said that. So if you guys are getting tired of hearing it again, here is it one more time. Just like Ayu said, you have to repeat it. So wonderful job as Toastmaster of the day. Great example for others. Now, let me see. I had something else I wanted to comment on, and I wrote it down. Oh, yes, the word of the day. I love the word myriad. And not everybody, I think more people know the meaning of the word than actually get to use it. It's hard to squeeze the word in. Usually we would just say many, several, or we will say lots and lots and lots. Lots and lots and lots doesn't have the same impact or power as myriad. Usually myriad means there's so many that you cannot count, like the myriad of stars in the heavens. Or I think Lauren said something about a myriad ways, or in other words, it's so plentiful that you cannot count it. So I love that. Another word which I think of when I think of myriad is plethora. But again, that's a word which we understand, but we don't really use that often. A plethora of ways, a plethora of topics, very similar to myriad as well. And let me see, there was something I wrote it down because I said, I really want to commend the person on it. And then I lost it. I'm sorry. Just think that there was something Michelle, as general evaluator, wanted to commend you for, but she can't remember who it was. See, I usually don't take notes early in the morning, small print. But anyway, oh yeah, just a little bit of suggestion on the way that we use verbs. Sometimes it doesn't matter because usually the the words are still understood, but we need to be a little more cautious about past tense and future tense and present tense. Sometimes when we say go instead of went or gone, and again, people still understand the verb, but we just need to be a little cautious on subject verb. I mean, if we're using past tense or present tense or future tense, then we need to be consistent. No biggie. So other than that, since I can't remember the great commendation that I wanted to share with someone. Oh yeah, there's another one. Yeah, there you are. Table topics. Titin, incredible. I think I don't have a better word. Incredible's not even good enough. I think phenomenal. It was wow. Your table topics questions were all great conversation starters. You got people engaged, involved. And again, even just, I don't know if you found them, the images already created as such, or you made them. Like, for example, the first one you gave me, Small Talk Survivor. I love that. I'm like, wow, what is that? Am I supposed to start talking about it? Oh, that's nice. So great images. Again, you could put those together and share them. So great job on table topics, Master. You're one of those, I don't want to stereotype people, but you're one of those, whatever role you take, I can always expect it to be phenomenal. And so far, I've never been disappointed, so I will continue with that expectation. And on this note, I would like to hand over control back to our Toastmaster of the day. Let's welcome back Sarah.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for all those comments. You are totally right. We are in a small meeting. However, great learnings, added value. Thank you, all of you, for your participation. I will just give you one last recommendation for small talk. Be prepared. And if you ask me how to prepare small talk, well, it's somehow easy. Get informed about the current events, but also try to get an interesting life, like volunteer, accept unusual invitations, meet challenge, read, and one great idea is to practice storytelling at Toastmasters. We have our club, we can come, we can practice and become much better in small talk. With this, I want to hand over to our president for today, Tiger.
President for today. I like that. Thankfully, I won't be the president tomorrow. Well, we had a myriad, where's my grammarian? We had a myriad of opportunities to learn and laugh today. I love small meetings. At first, being the VPE, I have to admit I was very frustrated because we had people that didn't show up. But with this type of group, always have people step up. You stepped up very quickly. Lauren stepped up and took on an extra role. Michelle showed up. Wow, how awesome is it to have Michelle? To have Michelle and IU here in the same meeting. This hasn't happened for a while, folks. This is a big thing. Big thing. Look at me. I'm sitting here in a meeting with 5 beautiful, intelligent, fun women. So how better to start a day? I would love to start every day like this. This was a phenomenal meeting. And yes, I hope that we get more participation next Monday, but if it's just the 6 of us again, I'll be perfectly happy with that. So thank you, everybody. Great topic. What a great topic. I don't know how many hundreds of meetings I've been to, Michelle. I've never had this topic before. What a great topic. It's so simple, but so enlightening and so important. Small talk is really important in our day-to-day activity. With all that being said, I'd say let's go ahead and turn off the video unless someone else has some small talk that they would like to add. Let's go ahead and turn off the video and figure out who's going to do what next week.